Welcome to today's podcast. This is Toni Weel from sunny Florida. I don't feel so sunny, if you can hear it. I have the flu, of all things. Detox symptoms, I know. But nevertheless, it's not easy to go through. But not that important right now. We have with us, as usual, Katie Mears, Sarah from Virtuous Unicorns, and Gary Parents. I think I let them do most of the answering because I have these relentless coughing fits. And when that happens, I will mute myself out, so you may not hear me as much. Anyway, my gosh, Katie, start with your questions.
Okay, here we go again. I've got a list full of questions for everyone to answer today. And thank you for all those who reached out to me to give me your questions so that we could answer them on the show today. And if you have more questions later on, feel free to join us on the live or send them to us through the chat, or you can reach out to any of us after the show, and we will do our best to try to answer them for you. Okay, so right off the top, we love to talk about detoxing, and someone reached out to me and asked, when we're really trying to do a deep, deep detox, are there certain well, we're always told to eat fruits, berries, and melons. We say that a lot. But are there certain fruits that we should focus on or certain fruits that we should avoid if we're really trying to do a deep, deep detox?
The only fruit you should avoid is fatty fruits, like avocado and durian, and all the other fruits are fine, so you don't need to worry about that.
Okay, that was easy
Uh,
peasy. Does anybody
uh,
else want to say something?
yeah, I would throw in there that keep in mind you don't have to eat the rainbow and that you can mono eat. And mono eating is actually going to be the best on your digestive system as well, too. So, what that means is if you're going to be strictly on grapes, then, just have grapes for one whole meal. Don't have grapes and, um, oranges and stuff like that. Mix it all together with bananas and stuff, too. Just focus on your grapes. And don't forget, too, if you are going to have melon, you have to eat that separate. So at least 30 minutes separate from any other meal.
Thank you, Sarah. You just mentioned bananas. Yeah, bananas is not a good fruit for detoxing. And of course, I know Gary wants to add use for deep detoxing, use the master cleanse.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
I knew
Absolutely.
it. I
But
knew it.
it it, it depends on what speed you want to detox at, because if you're eating grapes, then it involves your digestive system a little bit more. But like a fruit juice or a green juice or the master cleanse, there's very little digestion involved in that. So it just leaves more energy to go out as it clears blockages. It leaves more energy to go out to help heal the body.
Yeah, and that is exactly what I have been doing with these detox symptoms that I have. I started right away on a master cleanse. Nothing else, just that. And I do feel that I heal faster, probably twice as fast, getting through these detox symptoms.
And you texted me yesterday, I think it was, that you're able to walk better, even with these symptoms.
Yeah, but I'm very weak.
Oh
That is
yeah,
what I am.
yeah.
And
Well,
for
the
me,
part of the detox is it does make you weaker.
yeah. And for me, not being able to walk well is I have severe arthritis in my knees.
Mhm.
And of course, the body chooses whatever it wants to heal first. Well, it was not my knees.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's gonna. Isn't this? Do you find this
Yeah,
as you're detoxing or as you're regenerating your body? It will take care of certain areas first, and then it'll get to to like the knees or whatever. And some people it might go to the knees first. It depends on your body and how your system regenerates itself.
Yeah, I accepted that it works however it needs to work and not worry about it and just keep going.
Absolutely. And I wanted also that weakness that comes along with the detox as your body clears, you have strength like you have never had before.
I will
Because
be fine.
yeah, your body will re-energize and regenerate itself. And but there are some mind-numbing things that you might have to go through to get there, and you can always slow it down with food. You can slow it down with the fruit smoothie or a green smoothie. You can slow it down. But everything we do affects how fast our body is eliminating everything.
Okay.
Even go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, well, Gary, I just love what you just said because 2 weeks ago on my Facebook post, I posted Dr. Morse's level of detoxification. And I really like that pyramid shape because that pyramid shows you if you start from the bottom and move upwards, I mean, those are different ways to detox. And the more, if you want to do a deep, deep dig, then you do that water fast, which would kind of be like the master cleanse that you mentioned, which is at the top. And then afterwards, after you do these different fasts, then you move downward. And so then let's say you're at the very top and you do the water cleanse, and then the next one would be or I mean like a water fast, and then it would be a juice fast, and then would be smoothies, and then it would be the consumption of the fruits. So I just love that visualization that it has for us to see here's how you go up in your detoxing, and then here's how you come off of those different kind of fasts, if you want to call it. And that's exactly what you were just mentioning.
Yeah, and to understand that we control the speed of it, because most people they don't think they have any control over it at all, and as soon as they start having issues, they blame it on the fruit. Well, it's not the fruit; it's the accumulation of all the stuff you ate before you started doing the detox, and it's trying to eliminate. It's breaking it loose from the tissue faster than the body can eliminate it, and that is what gives you the cold and flu-like symptom. So as you learn, because we need to be explorers, because my body's not like anybody else's, and theirs is not like mine. So we have to find the things that work for us at a speed where we're still comfortable, but we're detoxing and we can slow down. And then maybe once a week or once a month, we do a 1, 2, or 3 day fast where we don't eat solid food. And then we go along and we level that back out if we start to have cold and flu like symptoms. If we don't, we could actually keep going. And that's how you know where your body is at as far as the toxins that are trapped in it.
Next.
Okay, next question. How do you remove mucoid plaque? Does it just happen after eating a raw food diet, or do you need to do a certain kind of cleanse?
Well, I do believe that when you do the master cleanse, for instance, it will help. The first fast I did was in my 20s, and I removed a lot of mucoid plaque. It was unbelievable. I didn't understand what I was seeing. It was like all black stuff coming out. Now I have done many fasts since then, but I've never seen that again. So I would say you eat your raw fruit and it will happen.
Yeah, and the other thing that's important, because plaque comes from buildup around our teeth, right? Well, gate one, here, the lymphatic gate one, above and below the collarbone, okay? And above is the lymphatic gate. Below it is a muscle that If it gets inflamed, it starts to affect the frantic nerve, or the what I call the phrenic nerve, which I call the frantic nerve, because when you're in fight or flight, you're not breathing well. Well, that's that nerve, and if it gets pinched off below the collarbone here, it's going to start having an effect. And you have one on each side, so you can actually have a paralyzed. Uh, yeah, this muscle right here can be paralyzed on one side and not the other because we have one that comes out each side. So when we are having issues with our teeth, okay, we just bite and you feel a muscle right here. And people that tend to grind their teeth at night, these muscles are almost in spasm. So we just pull down like 9 times, okay? And this half of our teeth underneath the chin, right in the center, we just start pulling back and be very careful because a lot of these can be very sensitive. This is where all the teeth drain down through here. And we want to get that up to, once we open gate 1, gate 2 is behind the ear, right? So all this stuff comes up to gate 2 and drops to gate 1. On each side, we have separate sides for these teeth to drain, and we want to make sure that we relax that muscle here. Also, inside your mouth, there's a little hole back there, and you can work that, and that'll get rid of TMJ and all those kinds of things. So, a lot going on right here. And this is not a gate, it's just a channel. And we push it back to gate 2, which is behind the earlobe. So, that's one way to get rid of plaque. All those acids building start to burn the bacteria that causes decay. They love that because it's low oxygen. There's not much movement there, so they can build colonies and abscesses and all these things that are, they'll all start to build. And that's what makes your gums soft or bleed, is these channels are not open, these canals. And since I've been doing the 6 lymphatic gates, because I used to have terrible gum issues. Not once. All those years that I went to doctors, dentists, nobody said, I think maybe your lymphatic channels are congested. Nope. They just grind and dig and burn and deep cleaning and measuring and all this stuff, but they never tell you what's wrong. And that's what's going on. That's what's going on.
Well, Gary, that's good because I actually have a couple of questions about teeth, so I'm going to ask those right now.
Mhm.
Okay, one of them that we were talking about before we started recording is somebody needs a root canal,
Yep.
and they were wondering like I think that they just don't know if they should do it or not. And they're concerned about if they get the root canal, what kind of harm is this going to do to the entire body? Also, what does this person I mean, is there a way to naturally heal it? I think that this person just doesn't know what to do. And so that's the kind of the question. What do you do about a root canal? Should you do it? Should you not? What's the damage that could be done? And if you don't do it, then what can you do to heal the tooth?
All right. There are ways to heal teeth. I've not experienced those, but that's what they claim. It's going to depend on why you need it. If you had a cavity and um, they filled it and the cavity came loose and things were leaking down inside and it starts to rot the tooth, sometimes they can go clean that out and put another filling in. But if it's too close to so this is the nerve here, let's say, right? And all around it is your tooth. They fill it, and if there is a lot of matter, tooth left, they could grind it out and fill it again. But if it's too close to the nerve, when you bite on it, it's going to put pressure on it. It's going to affect that tooth. The other thing is there are steps when you have a root canal. Most doctors don't do. They leave some stuff down in there and they throw some disinfectant down in there, just a liquid. Uh, But if they drill that root out so that the tooth is dead, you can have an abscess there and not even know it. And it's constantly, because it's here, it's draining down into the mouth, and that is linked right to the heart, because the heart and the tongue grew at the same time. They grew together, because this is part of your digestive system, but it's also part of your lungs. So it's a dual purpose. When you have a root canal, they are very dangerous. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't have one that would be considered successful. But the dentistry system is the only one that believes that you can have something dead in your body and still be okay. Well, you can't. You can't have something dead in your body. Chances are it's going to cause an issue, and the issues it can cause can be from digestion to electrical, like heart, your nervous system. I mean, there are all kinds of things that can happen having a root canal. I've had root canals, and those teeth have been taken out, and my health improved. Now, that was before I knew any of this stuff. I just noticed that I felt better. I had more energy. So they're very draining, because your immune system is constantly fighting with that tooth, because it's dead. It doesn't want it there. And if you're not keeping this channel open, okay, this is gate 1, gate 2 is behind the ear, and the blood that goes in and out of the brain goes right by this is the largest lymph node, that little hole right behind your earlobe, just above your jaw, okay? That lymph node starts to swell. Well, it's going to start interrupting the blood supply going to and from your brain. And the vagus nerve comes out here too, right through the skull, and comes right down. So it'll affect the nervous system as well. And there's one in each side. Don't do both at the same time. I know it looks like you could do that, but that blood supply, if you happen to interrupt that blood supply on both sides, like that, you'll pass out. And we don't want that. We're into healing. So you do one side, then you do the other side. But you want to make sure that you get this jaw underneath your jawbone. Make sure those channels are all clean, and that means that your teeth are draining and it's going down through the lymphatic system where it's supposed to go. So that would be my advice on a root canal. They love to do them. I don't know how much they are now. They're probably a couple of $1,000. And as far as
She told me that hers is going to be about $4,000.
oh, okay. Yeah, well, see,
And I was like, oh yeah, I would try to heal that myself.
yes.
That's a lot of money.
Yes, it is. And I think the best way to heal it would be to make sure that these are clean so that everything's draining the way it's supposed to. That's step 1. Step 2 is some good herbs to help keep those areas clean. And I haven't really studied how to rebuild a tooth, especially if it's decayed. But it is a bacteria, and you're feeding it. So if you can stop feeding it, that would be a major step in the right direction, to stop feeding the bacteria, because they love low oxygen. So you want oxygen, rinsing your mouth out with salt water, having the lemon. As far as I'm concerned, whether you just did lemon water, even if it's not the master cleanse, just do lemon water. The lemon will go in the vitamin C, and the lemon is such a cleanser, it'll start cleaning up your teeth, and your whole body will be stronger. But one of the biggest things is breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth, oxygenating the body, and then it's in the blood. The nutrients is in the blood, the oxygen is in the blood, and the proper hydration is in the blood. And that's what heals us. So that's what I would say for that.
So I'm just thinking, when you say the proper hydration, do you think that this person should probably maybe do a water fast, or do you think it's okay to do like the lemon water or the master cleanse with some fruit juices.
Yeah, that last part. A
I
little
was
bit of
uh,
master cleanse.
Yep. So I was wondering if this person should do like a water fast or just do like the master cleanse. And if this person chooses to do the master cleanse, I know that she has done a couple of juice fasts. I'm not sure
Okay.
the extent of them, but just wondering if she can mix that juice fast with the lemon water fast.
Yeah, actually, you could put the lemon right in the right in the fruit juice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's more about, again, we're going back to nutrients in, right? And we're going back to I can't really say that water fasting is bad, but most people who water fast, you really have to experiment with it, and you shouldn't do it by yourself, especially if you can do a long water fast. Now, I know Toni does a lot of water fasts, but she's experienced, so she understands how her body is acting and reacting and working during that, because you're not getting anything, nothing, no food, no minerals, no nothing. And it is a great way to detox, but it's probably, other than dry fasting, it's probably one of the toughest. And it is something you need supervision, if because there's people that do 40-day water fasts, and you really need supervision if you're going to do that, if you've never done it before, because you can hallucinate. uh, People need to watch you to see where your mind is at. It's kind of like the guys that run the 104 5-mile races, 160-mile races. There's a 300-mile marathon race. Uh, they check them at every checkpoint, and they weigh them, and they ask them questions. And if they can't answer the questions the way that you would normally answer it, they pull them out of the race. They can't race anymore. And because they're getting delusional, because they're getting dehydrated. Uh, I interviewed a guy that was doing a 160-mile one. He carries uh, not all not all at once, but at each checkpoint he gets a new backpack. And during that 105 miles, he'll drink 40 pounds of mango juice. Now, whether there's a pound in each one when he goes, but he's got to carry that weight too. But he has to stay hydrated. And he's the one during the interview who told me that they check you at every checkpoint. They weigh you and they ask you questions. And if you don't answer the way that you would normally answer, they take you out. So dehydration is huge in this country. I would say, and I'm not a guy for percentages, but most people in this country are dehydrated because most of the drinks that are FDA approved dehydrate our body. Like just one cup of coffee, you need 2 glasses of water to counterbalance the dehydration that's going to cause in your body. And there are teas that will do the same thing. If they have caffeine in them and stuff, they're dehydrating. And those are the things that we're not really looking at. Um, and most coffee has mold in it. So a lot of people are having mold issues, but it can come from their coffee. So
Yeah. Best bet, stick with your water and your fruit juices.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And make sure that those are clean too.
Yeah.
As clean as possible for what you can, for what you have. There are countries that drink water that we would instantly throw it out because it's just so bad, but it's all they have. So that's what they drink. And they have a lot of uh, health issues because of it.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay. There was another question in my list of questions about teeth, so I'm going to stick with teeth for a second.
Yeah.
Um, so we know that each tooth is connected to a body organ or a body system.
Right.
If you have a cavity in a tooth, are you able to heal that cavity before you heal that organ that the tooth is associated with? Or does the organ have to be healed first before the cavity gets healed?
Yeah, that was an interesting question, Ian. In the groups, we talked a lot about that because every tooth is related to some part in the body. And I didn't know this until well, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And I take an example of my own experience again. And hold on. Uh, that guys, I'm good. Is that when I was 19, I had a very sore tooth, and it was right next to my front teeth. And now I know that was the gallbladder tooth. Right after I gave birth, when I was 19, I had my first gallbladder attacks. That tooth stayed in there for another 10 years, and then it was taken out, and I got a bridge there. And the gallbladder was taken out, when I was 19. So it is so hard to say what did come first. Is your tooth, is it an indicator that your organs are not working well? And I think that is what it is because gallbladder issues that has been going on for years before you get the first problem. A tooth getting bad doesn't take that long. It can be years, but not big part of your life, not, like 5 to 10 years. And so I think that it would come your healing your body, and we always go back to you do what you need to do to heal your body, and everything falls into place. And it is, of course, it's interesting to know how exactly that works. But I think when you are on the correct diet, that cavity will heal anyway. And so would the um, organ that's related to it. And I do see it as a little alert. It's like, okay, this tooth is connected to that organ, and now be aware of it, that you need to take action. And I came to the conclusion, and a cavity is not just a cavity. There's more going on in your body. And I think it's not like, oh, we need to heal this first, like we previously already mentioned. The body decides what to heal as long as we put in the correct fuel. So that would be my answer.
Yeah, Dr. Perry Nicholson, I watch his stuff a lot, and a lot of the things that I do, I learn from him. Uh, so what he always says is there is no way to heal one single thing in the body. The body is completely one package. And if one thing's off, then other things are off. So when you go in and you just start doing juices and master cleanse and herbs and breathing, the body heals itself all all at the same time. It takes what's strong and makes it stronger, and it takes what's weak and makes it stronger. And if you keep doing it, then eventually it will totally regenerate itself, because that's what it's designed to do. It's designed to take toxins and eliminate them through the 13 channels of elimination. And when that system gets corrupted, then we start to get inflammation, which is in the lymphatic system. All inflammation up here is because this is not draining. It's not able to, teeth are not able to come down here and move through that channel. And if you have something under here that's really sore, that's exactly it's going to start building up in the teeth and it's going to start causing problems. And that was my problem my whole life. And not once did I ever hear about that. And I kept thinking as a kid, why is this plaque building up like this? And like, no, they just dig and dig and dig and dig and little vibrator things in there. And I mean, it was crazy. And all I had to do was open up my lymphatic system and it all would have gone away. And the first time I did the master cleanse, my gums, and this is as an adult, my gums were uh, puffy, bleeding, loose teeth. First time I did a 10-day master cleanse, my gums all went back to normal because it opened this up and it started draining. I didn't know that at the time, but that's what was happening. See, there are so many things that the body does that we don't know and or understand. And we have to get a little, we have to be around the right circle of influence to find those things out. And that's what I do. I seek everywhere out in the world to gather information to help people understand how their body actually works. And once you understand that and you start getting that lymphatic system moving and you're putting in clean water, the master cleanse, juices, whether they're fruit, which is the highest electrical, okay? Here we are, we're all trying to become super enlightened, right? While eating dead food. And those two things do not correlate. But when you get into fruit juices, fruits, berries, melons, they are the highest electrical conductor that we can put in our body, and they're self-digesting, so they take a lot of burden off in the whole digestive system. And they're cleaning the mouth at the same time. They're cleaning the lymphatic system. And that's where all the issues are. If you have cancer, that's a lymphoma. I don't care where it is. If you have teeth marks on the edge of your tongue, that's part of your digestive system. And your tongue is swollen. There's all the lymph nodes inside there. And I just did a video showing 3 different processes that we can do to strengthen our tongue. And there are many others that we can do, but I mean, I just did 3 in this last video. And one is taking your tongue and pulling it out and then moving it and twisting it and getting all those lymph nodes and stretching those muscles. Our tongue should be, the tip should be behind our top teeth, and you should be able to put your tongue on the roof of your mouth all the way to the back. That's where it's supposed to rest. People who have the head down like this, their tongue tends to be down on the bottom of their mouth. And if you actually pick your head up without just leaving your tongue on the bottom, okay, and then you take your tongue and you put it on the roof of your mouth, it almost automatically goes up because that's the correct posture alignment for the body for it to do what it needs to do. And I mean, it's bizarre that we're not taught this stuff. And we're not taught this stuff because the system that makes money off in the degeneration of our cells, they don't want to because there's no money in us being healthy. If we could figure out, in China's, the Chinese way back, I was telling people in the class the other day, you paid your doctor a monthly fee to stay healthy. And if you got sick, you stopped paying them till you got well again. Now, what a system is that? You think that I want to lose my monthly income because you got sick? No, I'm going to keep you as healthy as I can keep you because that's how I make my money. Now, that system is a powerful system. So I kind of got off track a little bit there, but okay, so let's go on. Or if you have a question.
Yep. Next question.
Okay, I was going to see if Sarah wanted to say anything.
Sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, I mean, definitely everything they said. And I find that very interesting about the lymphatic gates with the teeth, because that was something that I did struggle with as well too. Can those lymphatic gates open up on their own? Because I've never actually opened mine, and my gums do not bleed or anything anymore. And I just kind of took that as that I don't brush my teeth either.
Y- Um,
So,
so what I would say is that when we do just daily movement,
mhm.
okay, we're opening the gates. But people that sit a lot, they're sitting and all the gates are closed. Heads down, shoulders usually rounded over, working on a computer. This is a gate, right? We're bent over. The rib cage is pushing down on the fourth gate. Uh, your hips are closed, and your knees are bent. Well, these are all gates that go up through the body, and so your daily movement was enough to keep them open. We know that there is an issue with a gate when inflammation starts in that area, whether it's under your armpit or your uh, jaw down here. If there's any sore spots down here, then that's congested. It's
Mhm.
building back up in the teeth. So we want to keep those gates open. And for this particular one, you could just do 1, 2, and then push this up into that gate so it can go down. And this is all gravity fed because there's so much stuff coming out of the head. You got the sinuses, you got all these different things. As you think and you're creating toxins because it takes energy to do that. And the blood going in and coming back out, that blood is toxic when it comes back out. That's why it needs to go be refiltered and go back through the system.
Great.
Um,
All I do is think, Gary.
I know, but if you move,
Yes, I do
our
a lot of
daily
that.
activity, yeah, our
Yes.
daily activity is what keeps the gates open. The Zen swing that will really open the gates because you're moving all the joints and muscles in the body, and you're
Mhm.
pumping the lymphatic pumps, which is the balls of your feet are two pumps, and your diaphragm is the other pump.
Oh, that's
So,
wonderful.
and just
I'm definitely going to start doing those. And I was even just showing my mom, I like sent it to her the part where you started talking about the teeth, because she has had root canals, and thankfully I've never had to have them. And so far, so good with my teeth still. They seem to be
good.
very good. So, um, yeah, I'm definitely going to start doing that as well, too, because I am pretty sure I do have a clog, and especially my right one. But I always took it because I've played volleyball for, my gosh, probably like 25, almost 30 years now.
Yeah.
And so I always took it as my shoulder was messed up from that. And I've done massage and all that stuff, but maybe it's one of my gates. So I'm going to try my hardest to really add that to my daily.
It's your right shoulder.
Yes.
Okay. Um,
But we can get into my stuff
was
later,
it?
though. But yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you have an injury there?
No, but like I said,
Okay.
I mean, 20, like, and I was always an overhand server and everything like that, too. So I always just chalked it up to I
Did
injured myself, probably.
ever ever feel like you had the weight of the world on your shoulders?
Oh, every day, you know that. Every parent
And
does, don't they?
I and I can't remember, but I think the right side is the male side.
Ah, yes, yeah, I come from a very dominant, woman dominant
Okay.
family. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So that give that permission to go away
Okay.
and explore it a little bit. Maybe it'll come out, but it doesn't really matter. And when I say come out, why it happened,
Yeah.
and because you came from a very dominant thing, you were the server, which is a dominant position,
Yeah.
right?
Well, everybody serves, but yeah,
Yeah.
being an overhead, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But
yeah.
it's what you mentioned, so it's important.
Yes.
And
Yep.
just go in and give whatever tension is in there. Just tell it it's time for it to go. You're not serving my higher good, so I give you permission to let
Oh,
go.
I get it. Thank you.
All right. Next.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Next question. So Tony mentioned the gallbladder just a couple of minutes ago. So this next question is about the gallbladder. This person asked, what exactly does the gallbladder do, and what happens if it gets removed?
Well, it is a container for the bile, and it concentrates it, and that's pretty much what it does. And when it's removed, now the bile just drips out. And when it was my gallbladder was removed, you know what's so crazy? I knew I had stones, gallbladder stones. I did not even know they removed the gallbladder until years later. They didn't tell me. But anyway, I was told back then that it can regrow. And I took that for granted, like, okay, you know, the body finds a way to make it all work again. I have been researching if I can find anything about it, nothing.
Hmm.
You know what? I know so many people that have had their, and I know we've talked about this on a previous show, that have had their gallbladder removed after they've been on the keto diet.
Oh,
Yeah, I know 4 people off the top of my head that I can tell you they all have been very big into the keto diet, and they all have had their gallbladders removed.
yeah, high
Wow.
fats.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah. Interesting, interesting.
So,
Okay.
well, so the gallbladder, right? It's a distribution center really for your bile from your liver. And I've heard of the liver regrowing, but the gallbladder, I have not heard of that. But I believe that anything in the body can regrow. It's just that we've been told that it can't. Because if the liver can, and the thyroid can, and other, you know, when they take it out and they tell you that, and you believe them, well, it's not going to regrow. I would say that when they take a gallbladder out, if you have to have a cell left behind, that's what I feel, and that cell will duplicate and duplicate until it regrows a gallbladder, just like the liver. I think 80% of your liver, and it will regrow itself. Uh, now they do liver transplants, but that's not a this transplant thing is not good. I mean, it does save lives, but you're on heavy, heavy medications to keep your immune system from attacking that. And so it shut your immune system down, like to zero. You have no immune system whatsoever. They chemically kill it. And you can never be off it because if it was a heart transplant, the immune system is going to start attacking the heart because it's not from your body. Um, but that gallbladder, when you eat fats, it starts to let the bile out. And Tony's right. When they take it out, it just drips, constantly drips into the system. And it causes a lot of havoc in there. I know 2 people, well, I know way more than 2, but these 2 were married. And they both had colon cancer. And as a favor, after they came out of the surgery, the doctor said, we did you a favor and we took out your gallbladder. There wasn't anything wrong with it, but we just figured it'd save you an operation down the road.
Criminal.
It
Oh
is
my
criminal.
gosh, I would be livid.
Yeah. No,
I
they
didn't
thanked
give
him.
you permission for that. You don't just go in there and take what you want.
And that's what they're doing. They're doing it all the time. They're doing it all the time. They'll give you shots that you didn't even know you got because you're under. And they're just in there and cutting and snipping and taking things out. And they get paid to take that gallbladder out. And not once did they ever have dietary uh, consultation about you can't have heavy fats now because the the regulatory, the gallbladder, which regulates when that goes in, is just dripping all the time, and it's causing a lot of issues. And they have both passed now, and who knows how much longer they would have had to live had they left their gallbladder in. Now, she was an amazing raw food chef, and they both ate very clean, but they both ended up, and they got it at the same time, and they died pretty close to each other. So, yeah.
I guess I'm a miracle.
So, yeah. So take care of your gallbladder, and take care that the doctor doesn't take something out when you're under that you don't even know. And you can write that right on the contract and initial it or sign it.
Yeah, that is a good point. Thank you, Gary, for sharing
And,
that.
and for shots too. No shots. If I
Mhm.
don't need them. Okay.
Yeah. Okie dokie. Let's see. Uh, how do you know when to do is it, I don't know how to say the word colonics or
Colon,
colon, a
colonic.
colonics? Yeah. How do you know when to do that or do an enema? I've done neither of them, so I couldn't answer this question. So I said, oh, I'll ask. How do you know when to do them?
Okay. I guess I'm up. So, what I would say about that is if you feel bloated, you're having a hard time having a bowel movement, there are other things we can do there also. Hydration being one of those. Uh, but I'm not a fan of coffee enemas, even though the Garrison Clinic kind of lives by coffee enemas. So it must work. I don't know, but I'm not a fan of it. Just wanted to make that clear. Uh, I have done enemas. I was having some digestive issues, and uh, when the stuff comes out of your stomach, might as well go through this because it's part of it. When we consume something and it goes down into the stomach, all right, and it's trying to digest it, it's called a methylation process. So it has to break all that food down, take everything out, all the chemicals, all everything, whether those chemicals are toxic or whatever it is, and it pushes it out into the lymphatic system. And what the body takes out of that and is processing, it comes into the uh, intestinal tract, and the intestinal tract is like a conveyor belt or an assembly line. Okay, it comes up through and across the transverse and down through the descending colon and out. And what it's doing is it's alkalizing it because it's super hot when it comes out of the stomach. So it's alkalizing it in each compartment as it goes through, and then we're able to eliminate it without it burning us. Uh, no, I've forgotten the question here. What was the question again?
How do you know when you should have
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
An enema. And colonics, okay, there's an open and a closed, an open colonic and a closed colonic. So an open colonic, everything comes out on the table down past your butt so that they can examine it. A closed one, when it goes through, it goes into the machine, and there's a glass tube. Let's say it's that big around. I don't really know, but I know it's a glass tube, and everything goes through there so they can watch it and they can see what's going through, whether that's parasites or whatever it is. If you have intestinal parasites and you do a enema, there are things you can do to uh, remove those, because you can remove them swallowing stuff, or you can remove them going up the other way, because that's just a tube that runs through us. Although we can't get up past a certain area in the intestinal tract, colonics will go deeper, and they've taken out what's gone through that glass tube. Those little Hot Wheels cars. These are adults too. Little green army men, marbles. I mean, you name it, it's gone through those tubes, and they've, actually witnessed it going through. So we have a lot of stuff trapped in our system from when we were kids or even adults. Just because we're an adult doesn't mean we're not old enough to chew on a little green army man or I mean, we're much wiser at it, but these are the things that can happen. So, and the other thing on that is not to do an enema too often, because what happens is as the enema goes up into the intestinal tract, it can weaken it if you do it too much. And then you have to have an enema just to go to the bathroom because it's losing its muscle power to move that down through the system and get it out. That would be my only warning. If you want to do an enema once every 6 months or a year, just to kind of flush things out, I don't know that there is a specific time to do it. It's more just like general maintenance. The other thing, like there was a woman in town here in Arizona, and I never met her, but I met her husband, and she had fecal impaction. And the doctors have been trying and trying and trying. They were talking surgery to take that out. And I'm like, so I taught him just to do a slow breath through the nose, hold it, and then exhale. And when she exhaled, you push like this on your stomach, and your intestinal tract is all around there. And the very first time she did it, the whole thing moved and was eliminated. Now she's been going to the doctors for a long time for this. We're the solution. And I'm not saying they're the problem, but many things that they do go against common sense. That's why I'll never be a doctor. I have no ambition of being a doctor. I'm kind of old for that now anyway, but that doesn't mean we can't learn. And that's the most important part. We have to be the explorers. We have to manually take over the automatic part of our body to strengthen it, to move it, to keep it fluid and flowing. Because if it doesn't flow, that's stagnation, and stagnation is a long, slow, suffering death. Okay.
Yes. Okay, this I am not familiar. I mean, I know about these procedures and things, but when somebody gets a colonoscopy and they have to drink a certain drink before the colonoscopy until they poop clear,
Mm-hmm.
like is that removing like the mucoid plaque and the parasites because now your poop is clear, or is that like something totally different and not good for you? Or I mean, I don't have experiences with these procedures, so now I'm just like curious about them.
Yeah, so the colonoscopy, they actually give you a drug that erases your memory. You might want to think about that for a minute. It erases your memory because it's so invasive. They actually blow your intestine up so they can run the cameras through. Now, it's different than colonics. Colonoscopies, this has always been my thing, even when I was a kid, because people were abducted by aliens, right? And the first thing they did was an anal probe. Well, when you're 50 years old in America, you get to go to the spaceship and get an anal probe. So that whole thing is so bizarre to me. If we keep our digestive system clean, our intestinal tract will be clean and we won't have any problem. Now, I've never had a colonics. I've never had a colonoscopy, and I'm 74. I'm still here. Most of these things are just to pay for the equipment. They just run you through system after system after system. Oh, you need to go see Dr. So-and-so and have this test, and then go see this doctor and have this test. And the next thing you know, you're sick, and 6 or 7 months have passed, and they really haven't done anything except give you tests and probably each doctor give you a drug, and then you have to have a drug for the side effect that's created by the drug that you took uh, by the first doctor. The best thing to do is either fruit juices or, well, the Master Cleanse is a fruit juice, by the way. And to me, it's the most powerful one. Grapes are amazing. And if you make a grape juice, that's probably just as powerful. You could even squeeze lemon in it. I've done that before. And just squeeze a half a lemon in a glass and drink it. And you're getting your lemon, you're getting your grape. You put a little pinch of salt in there if you choose to. And when I say a pinch, I'm talking like 18 grains. Now, you're not going to count those out, but just a small amount is all I'm talking about. And that's all you really need. And this will keep your whole system clean and clear and functioning properly. So hopefully they'll do that. And like, again, with the enemas, if you do them too much, you won't be able to go to the bathroom yourself. You'll have to do an enema to go. So once a month, once every 6 months, once a year, it's up to you. But again, I'm not a big fan of the coffee enemas. I'm a big fan of the Garrison group, but I guess that would be my point for that. Okay, so
Yeah, thank you, Gary. Sarah, do you have anything to add or say?
I have never done either one of those, but I do know people that have had them done. And I worked at a facility where they were doing colonoscopies on the second floor, and we'd always see the people, and they were completely out of it and drugged even after it, that kind of stuff. So I did see a lot of those people. I've always been, I don't know, I would say I've always been afraid to do it. But again, I really don't do a lot of stuff. So
yeah, you don't. The thing is, we don't need to.
yeah. If you don't need to, I guess don't. But if you do, make sure you're working with somebody, and maybe with somebody that's very reputable. Because I do believe they are dangerous. Our intestines are very important to us, and we need to take care of them.
Yeah, and a lot of people die from those. Not a lot, but there are people that die from those.
It's an actual scary amount, actually.
Yeah,
But people
it
think it's
tears.
just routine.
Yeah, when they blow it up, it tears the lining, and all the stuff goes out into the body and causes all kinds of issues.
Yeah.
So, and it is extremely painful. That's why they give you those drugs that erases your memory.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yikes.
My stepdad used to do it without the medication, actually. Yeah, so that was something. But he's no longer with us either. So not because of that, but many other things too.
Well, and I find it interesting in the place that I live, you have just as many billboards saying get your colonoscopy as you have get your shots, get your vaccines. I mean, it's all over. So
And your mammograms and your
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They've actually, not to jump off subject, but I don't know if everybody else has seen too, but they have different ways of going about for, instead of doing the mammogram, you can do ultrasounds, you can do blood testing, you could do all kinds of stuff instead of going through the, I've never had one, thankfully, but I've heard they're not pleasant.
Yeah.
Right. And they cause a lot of damage. There's a few women each year that die just from the test, just from the squeezing, if it I can't remember what it does, but if you have a tumor in there, it can actually push it and
Rupture.
I don't know
Kind
if
of
it
like a
ruptures it.
pimple.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of ruptures it depending on what state it's in.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, that's I don't know. The person that came up with that is
Yeah.
out there.
Was probably not a woman.
No,
Put them in there and
no.
squeeze them. No thanks.
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah,
Exactly.
That's funny.
yeah. Because it
Okay.
is an insane process as far as I'm concerned. When you keep your body clean, you open up the third gate and you push everything out. You're pushing all that debris that's in there. You're pushing it. And then this side, you do the same thing. You're pushing all that debris out because if this gets congested, it backs up in the house. And if it backs up in the house, what's here? Breast, lungs, bone. So these acids are pretty dangerous that way. So,
Okay, now I'm just sitting here thinking about what you just said, Gary, and I'm like, well, that does that make women's boobs bigger? If like, because if it's all congested and it doesn't move anywhere and it goes into the breast, do the breasts become bigger the more acidic?
well, yeah, but it's inflammation.
Yeah, inflammation. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, so it's actually burning the tissue.
So that's probably why when women start cleaning out their bodies, their breast sizes will change maybe then.
Yes, because it's the inflammation, but it's more up here. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
and if you ever seen anybody with a tumor in their breast, I mean like a large tumor, then that breast is a lot bigger because of the inflammation and the size of the tumor. So one breast could be a lot bigger than the other one, and that can happen in natural life. I mean that's
Right. Well, and
because
even like when you looked at my eyes, one side of my body was more acidic than the other. Like when you looked
oh
at my lymph nodes. So yeah,
yeah.
that totally makes sense to me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And all that inflammation is in the lymphatic system. That's why you start to feel better when you get to clean that out. But cleaning it out, if it's been neglected for a long time, takes it can cause a cold and flu-like symptom like Tony's having,
Mhm.
and and we control the speed of that's probably the most important part of this is you control the speed, but you have to learn how your body works. I can't tell you how your body works. I can tell you about it, but you're the one that has to fine tune it, has to manage it.
Mhm.
I want to bring something up that we talked about 2 weeks ago, and I forgot how that device is being called. It's a device where you stand up, Katie.
Oh, yes, the lymphatic, it's a lymphatic shaking machine. But I
Yep.
can't remember, but I think that's what it's called, lymphatic shaking machine.
Yeah,
Yep.
You like stand on it and it'll vibrate you.
yeah, okay, the vibration. I looked it up further, and I had never heard of these things. And I'm behind with all the fats that is going on. And I have seen what it does to a body and how it vibrates, and that people even say that it replaces like doing 25 sit-ups or walking for 2 miles. And when they are on that thing, their whole body, everything shakes. Not a little bit, but a lot. And I saw one gentleman said, yeah, he gets muscle pain, but that will go away. And I'm like, this cannot be good. This just cannot be good. If everything shakes, what you see on the outside, well, what the heck is happening on the inside of your body? I mean, getting the lymph flowing, okay. I think Gary's idea is a lot simpler. So I am absolutely against all these fats, all these extra things that people I think they're needed to get them healthy.
Right. Well, and Tony, so somebody brought that question to me, and then this week I had mentioned something to my younger sister, and she said, "Oh, my friend has one." But she doesn't use it. And I was like, "Oh, my younger sister's name is Ellen." And I said, "Ellen, you better tell her that it's not good for her to be standing on a machine being shaken, because you're going to release, the toxins in your lymphatic system. And if your kidneys aren't filtering, then you're just moving toxins all over your body." That's the way I see it. I don't know if
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah,
to me,
well,
that just makes sense. And so why
yeah,
would you want to do that?
you're correct. But have you seen somebody on that thing and how much the body shakes?
I have not seen
Oh
it. I've
my
done no
God,
research into that.
that
Well,
was
I can
scary.
jump in. I actually stood on one this past weekend. My aunt has one, and I did not like it. Hers was almost like you were kind of like on a surfing kind of motion, but it was shaking you, and it reminded me, those things in the 50s that were popular. The women stood on them and they went
Yeah.
around their butt and they leaned back and it shook
Oh
their
yeah,
whole
yeah.
body. That's what it felt like, kind of like. And I was like, oh, I don't like that. And then even when I got off, I still felt like I was shaking a little. So yeah, I did not like it, I have to say.
It
That's so
doesn't.
interesting that you got to stand on one when I never knew about them.
I
Here
never
we
either.
are.
I walked in and she's like, check this out. And she did. She said, like, it's equivalent to doing sit-ups. It's equivalent to being on a treadmill.
Yeah.
And I'm the same with everybody else. Like, a treadmill's one thing, but you're allowing your body to do its natural movement. Nowhere are we ever in an area where we are shaky. And I don't like the vibration stuff.
Now, people want to have a shortcut.
Yeah. And I was
And
only on it for like not even a minute because I was like, yeah, I don't like this.
yeah, I probably would be the same.
Yes.
So I wanted to get that out of the way because 2 weeks ago, I had no clue really about what it was. So I had to look it up and really see all these videos about it. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Sue Hoodie has a question. I was wondering if anyone had heard of mimosa pudica seed for detoxification. I've heard of it. Would I take it? No. Because it's something else that doesn't make sense to me. And I think it is a part of a detox plan, and I forgot how that was called, where they use it a lot. I don't know. Do you know more about it, Gary?
No, can you explain it to me?
Mimosa pudica seed. And it is, I think it is something that you put in water and it swells up.
Okay, so it's kind of like
Like chia seeds.
yeah. I don't know. I haven't studied it. Does it have nutritional value or
I don't know. I saw it, I saw how it worked, and I was like, nope, and move on. Because I don't even spend time with it. Maybe I should look into these things more in case there are questions about it. But this was just one of these things, and I'm like, why? And it's like we keep
Hmm.
looking for things to speed something up, and yeah, no shortcuts.
Yeah,
So
go ahead. I just wanted to go back to that vibrating plate. I've been on those.
okay.
I've been on those vibrating plates. Um, and you're right, it really shakes you. Um, but like everything, like you said, Tony, they're looking for the quickest way out. Well, the quickest way out in my world is clean your lymphatic gates, have a good diet, uh, fruit juices, good movement, not exercise, just slow movement. You want to build more energy than you generate more energy than you burn. And everything that we're taught burns more energy than the body generates. And that's what breaks us down over years. And that's why we end up being sick. Um, because we're being nutritionally, hydrationally, and oxygenation going into the body is not enough for it to function properly, no matter what we eat. no matter what we drink. You can have an all fruit diet and still be sick or still not feel 100% because you're not moving, you're not breathing. It takes those three things: hydration, oxygen, and nutrition, and then the movement mixes it all together, and the body will do what it needs to do to heal itself. And if you're doing synthetic foods all the time, made by people that are just there to get a paycheck under artificial lights, created in a petri dish, chances are it's not going to be good for you in the long run. Matter of fact, I know it's not. It's dead food. It's not live. And it's full of chemicals that lower our energy. And that's why I don't believe in disease. I believe in dis-ease. These are frequencies. Everything is a frequency. Everything. So dead food has a very low frequency. And what loves low frequency? Parasites. They love a lack of oxygen. They love a lack of hydration. And they love a lack of nutrition. And they build these colonies, especially if you have pockets in your intestinal tract. They love to get in those pockets and they build colonies. And those colonies, as they grow, well, that intestine gets weaker, and that's all parathyroid, because the parathyroid is a connective tissue. And that's what gave them that home. So that's another reason that you do enemas, also to flush out those pockets and try to rebuild that thyroid, and all that connective tissue will get stronger, and it should go back into place. Okay, that's it.
Okay, let's go on to the next question. This came to me from Karen, and we kind of talked about it. I think a lot of people are going to be have wondered about this. When you're checking your kidney filtration, we usually do it first thing in the morning. We pee in a jar, set it on a counter for a couple of hours, and see if there's any sediments in it. Anyway, she asked, well, what happens if you wake up a couple times during the night? When do you check your filtration? So that's the question. Like,
Okay.
does it matter?
Well, you could pee in that jar all night long, and the morning pee, because if you're filtering, and this is the other thing, we don't always filter the because everything in the body fluctuates, right? So there might be a little bit, and then all of a sudden there's a lot, and then it kind of dwindles down, and then there's hardly anything, and we I think when we get something an idea in our mind about how our body's supposed to work, we go by the book, right? That's why I said 18 grains of salt in the master cleanse, because when you say a little, well, it might be half a teaspoon to somebody. So I have to, and I've had this happen. So we have to keep readjusting how we're communicating so that they don't have any doubt about what they're doing. Because most people, if they don't know what to do, that paralyzes their mind, and they don't do anything, which is a shame. But we need to be explorers. I already said that, and explore and really listen to our body. The answers are not out there; they're in here. The doctor inside is the one that we need to start listening to, because the doctor out there is only there for profit. Um, can you repeat that question, please?
Well, she was just wondering, like, because she wakes up a couple of times during the night and
Oh
she
yeah,
wants to check her kidneys. So then she's concerned that if she's peeing a little here at, like 1 and then a little bit more
right.
at 3 and 5. So she's just wondering, like, what time she be checking her kidney filtration? But I love what you just said. Just pee in the jar the entire night.
Right. And then leave it on the shelf for 4 hours or 6 hours, or some people say 2. But I have a story about this that I'm sure that many people will cringe at. And then there are others that absolutely love it. So the certified health nut, Troy Casey, he drinks his own urine. And I was watching a thing the other day, and he said, I'm not saying you should do this, okay? But this jar of urine was like big. It was 2 years old and had a bunch of white film in the bottom of it. And we all know we all know what that white film is, right? And it was pretty thick. And he said, and one thing you want to do is put the cap on it and shake it up to get that white stuff off the bottom before you drink it. I'm like, yeah, okay. So I'm going to check out of this conversation. You shouldn't be drinking the waste that's coming out of your body. And that's why it's waste. It's the body's eliminating it because it didn't need it. So I don't know. That kind of blew my mind when I saw him do that. So anyway, that's what I have to say about that. Is your filtration is going to happen, and sometimes it might not show up, and sometimes it will show up. It depends on what you're eating and how your body's functioning at that time. But there is a point where you want to see waste in the bottom of the urine, and it's usually kind of a white filtery looking thing, kind of. Yeah, I guess that's what I have to say about that.
I agree with that as well. And but I'm come from the school of I don't think I'm anywhere near healthy enough to even attempt to drink my own urine. And I don't think probably 99.8% of the world is clean enough to drink their own urine, because I've heard about looping and I've read about it and stuff like that. So I think you're going to have to be pretty far along on this journey before you can even start that, because right now we're just trying to get our kidneys to filter, and what
Right.
are they going to filter? You definitely don't want to be drinking that crap right now, but maybe when you are like Jesus and you are clean, then
Yeah, I
maybe
don't
you
know.
can.
I don't know. I have a hard time with that.
Yeah.
With that whole concept, right?
Yeah.
Because
But
it's waste.
yes, it is. But I
And
have read things, and I know, Toni, you can chime in. I know Gary can too, but Dr. Morse has written that he's against that.
yep. Well, I'm with him.
Okie dokie, we're going to move on. Okay, so there's a couple of questions about food. So we're going to talk about food now. It is recommended to stop consuming foods 3 to 4 hours prior to bed. Is this same true regarding drinking your fruit juice? Should you stop drinking your fruit juice 3 to 4 hours prior to bed? I think this has to do with digestion, right? We don't want to
Right.
eat
Well,
before bed so that the food can be digested.
yes, because the blood and the lymph at night when you sleep, when you lay down, that's when the lower part of your body actually eliminates toxins, is when you lay down and you rest. Now you're moving and you're rolling over and you're breathing, and so if your digestive system has food in it, then it's taking energy away from your body's ability to move the lymphatic fluid through the body. That's why 2 or 3 hours before, 3 or 4, I think you said. So I would say probably within 2 hours, you could probably have a fruit juice or a cup of tea, like an herbal tea or something. But the more you involve the digestive system, the less detox you're going to get through the night. And that is one of the most important things that can happen. That's why it's rest, digest, and heal. Well, the digestion is shut off, and the lymphatic, not completely, and then the lymphatic system can come up through the 5 gates, which would be knees, hips, gate 4 right here, gate 3 to get to gate 1. So it's got to travel against gravity, right? So when you lay down, the gravity starts coming in and it can make it into the 13 channels of elimination. And so it's really important not to have anything at night before you go to bed.
I usually don't drink any fruit juice going into the evening. I'm done with all of my fruit juices probably the latest 4 o'clock if I am fruit juicing. And I always looked at evening for more like, salad, or if you're doing like sweet potatoes, that kind of stuff. I've always looked toward that for dinners. But yeah. Yeah, because I don't know. I also think too, like, I don't want all that fluid in me before I go to bed either.
Right.
Yes.
Right. That is another big part of it. Like, that's why the peeing it, a couple times a night or whatever.
Yeah.
That could be a bladder infection too, or a slight, just enough to trigger you, to make you feel like you have to go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, Sarah, that leads into this next question, because these two questions were brought to me by the same person. So I think, because that's what a lot of us kind of say, like we drink our water, then we do our juice, and then our evenings are more like salad based. And so then he asks, if you're going to eat cooked food, or like eat food,
Okay.
when is the best time to consume them? Is it better to do it at lunch so that the body has more time to digest that food, or is it at dinner? And I thought that was a really good question because, yeah, so then I thought, oh gosh, or maybe am I doing this backwards? I don't have, but I love my fruit juice, so I just drink it all day long.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it really also depends on like how active you are, because I've heard it both ways, and Toni and Gary can confirm better. But I like my meal during the evening because I'm busy throughout the day, and I want to be able to. I guess now that we talk about it, I still kind of use it as like my wind down kind of thing, even though it's looks much different than what it used to many years ago. But it's like my peace, my rest, my okay, my day's done kind of thing. So maybe that's why I do it that way. But again, I'm so busy throughout the day, it's too hard to just keep stopping and doing stuff. But I don't know, Gary, Toni.
What I would say is it depends on your lifestyle. Some people are night people. Some people are morning people. And you're going to eat, and you shouldn't eat till you're hungry anyway. We're eating way too much, especially way too much processed foods. That's causing a lot of issues because of the chemical laden crap they're putting in the food these days. But the body's designed to take it out. That's why we're doing the manual opening the gates, because the body is getting congested. So we're going in and we're helping it by doing that and doing the breath work and getting things moving. No flow, no go. And when there's no go, there's pain. So that whole process to me is an individual thing. Your body should tell you when it's time to eat. And you don't have to have a lot of food either. I mean, you could do an orange or a tangerine or a juice or a smoothie or something like that, just to carry you through. And as you're back away from the table, let's say, the plate, we have more energy when we eat less. And actually, with us all trying to reach a higher frequency, the food gets in the way. I believe that in the future, most of us will be living on juices. Solid foods and things will not really come into play. And with what they're doing to the food, I'm not sure I want to be eating it anyway. So I eat once, sometimes 2 times a day. That's it. And I might have something in the morning other than this right here. Most people think it's coffee, but it's Master Cleanse. And other than that, I have tea. Those are about the only two things I drink. But this is part of the exploration, finding what works for your body. Whether you eat in the morning and then something light in the morning, have a good lunch, maybe have something light in the evening, and then stop and just drink juice, or because the juice will fill you up. It'll take away the hunger. But just sip it throughout the day, and you very seldom will you get hungry. But when you do, then it's about choosing what's going to go in your body. I wouldn't eat a watermelon at 6 o'clock, and then because you're probably going to be at peeing at night, and that would be the only reason. But you could have it at noontime, like if you cut one in half, those little cannonball ones, cut it in half, eat half in the morning, and have the other half in the afternoon, or something like that. So that would be my idea. But each person is individual. Your digestive system is individual. Some people process food really fast, and other people it's very sluggish. A lot of it has to do with our breath, our breathing, the speed of our digestive system, and how heavy the food is that we're eating. Whether it's for some people it's I think that I met somebody the other day. They eat 6 pounds of meat every day.
Oh my.
I'm like, that's 2 pounds for every meal.
Wow.
3 times a day. And I'm like, yeah, okay. So it'd be kind of interesting in 10 years to go back and see if they're still doing that, or if they're still here to be able to do it.
Or if they call into our show one day, I
Yeah.
need help.
Yeah.
I bet. No, that's 100% true. And keep in mind too that a lot of people mistake hunger for thirst. And so when I'm on orange juice, or I'm on any other kind of like watermelon juice too is really good. I'm not hungry. Those feelings go away. Because it's thirst. I've always mistaken that, because I've notoriously not good at drinking water, and I do try to work on that. But the other thing we talk a lot about, hold on a second, I got to turn my alarm off. Stop. Okay, it's time to pick up my boy. But we talk a lot about fruit juices and drinking juice and everything like that, and that's always wonderful, especially when you're first starting, because it's going in there and it's lubing up all the, like, think of a car, like when you put like oil in it, it's lubing all the gears and everything, and it's getting everything moving and flowing well. So when we start out, juice is great, but as you progress through this lifestyle, eating the fruit is more of what we really should be doing. That's going to be more of our natural state of it. But juice is great to, you just grab some of it, take with you, and you're good to go, pretty much for the whole entire day. Can't tell you how many times I've told stories on within 64 ounces of orange juice, we could work from dawn to dusk on just 64 ounces of orange juice and feel great. And never have I ever ate a giant meal and I sat down, I'm like, I feel great. I can't wait to jump up and go do stuff. Every time I've ever had a giant meal, I felt like I don't want to do crap. I don't want to do nothing. So the heavier the meal, the harder it's going to be to get your butt up off the chair or the couch and do stuff. So eat little and then see how you feel, and then you can always go back and have another orange and another and another. And I think I can't remember her name, but we've had her on here before, Toni. I think she lives up kind of close to Canada. I just saw her Instagram the other day, and she was showing that for lunch she sits down and eats 24 oranges.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, that's
Maria.
great. Yes, that's
Yeah.
her. I just saw her Instagram yesterday. And I was like, oh, that looks so good. But then she did have salad with it. I didn't want, and I don't think I finished watching it, but I don't know if she ate all that guacamole or does she just use a little bit. But
I couldn't fit
avocado
20.
hurts my stomach.
Yeah, I couldn't fit 24 oranges in my system.
No. I definitely know I can do at least 10.
Well, they were the little cuties, though.
They were the cutie
okay.
kind. Yeah, the little
Okay.
ones. So yeah,
Still.
but drinking your juice and stuff like that, you're gonna be so hydrated, and you're gonna just feel like you're gonna get like a zing of energy. And a lot of people can't. They always tell me I can't drink that much orange juice. I can't do it. Start out small. Start out with
Yeah.
2 ounces, and if you're getting indigestion and stuff like that, just fight through it. And just keep going, and if the indigestion keeps, then you probably have something else going on. But a lot of people can't handle orange juice at first, but once you get over that hump, then it's amazing. And if you can't handle orange juice, then watermelon, and watermelon's probably going to be a little bit cheaper because you get tons of juice out of watermelon.
Oh yeah.
And I don't like watermelon, but I like watermelon juice.
The watermelons are, well, none of the fruit is what it used to be.
No.
For people that don't have fruit in their area, good fruit, or even fruit, there's a lot of areas that don't have any fruit at all. Buy it frozen, because they pick it ripe and they process it right in the field and flash freeze it. So it's ripe. It's all the juice is there. And it's going to be, it may not be as good as picking it and eating it, but it's way better for you than not having any fruit at all.
Exactly. And we can only do what we have available to us. I
Right.
mean, we've touched on this subject many times too, that God knows where you are, and God knows what situation you're in. And as long as you're being virtuous and you're doing the best that you can do with what you have available to you,
Yep.
it'll somehow appear, or somehow your body will be okay, or something will appear where you can move somewhere where you can get the best of the best. So, but also in saying that too, some of us are meant to stay in certain places for certain things that we have no idea. You can only do the best with what you have available to you.
Hey guys, I have to go.
Okay.
I have another
You've been
meeting,
so fun.
another meeting coming up. So
Okay. Well, Toni, feel better. Katie, thank you for all the
Yes.
amazing questions, and everybody else
Yeah.
that has sent them to you. And Gary, thank you so much for all your notes, as usual. And same to you,
Okay.
Toni.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
and I have a couple more questions to ask, so maybe we could do this in a couple more weeks, and I can gather more questions. But thank you everyone for being here, and everyone who submitted a question. And this was really fun. I just love all this. This is
Yeah,
so
I do
fun.
too.
I do too.
Yeah. So thank
All
you.
right.
Everybody, take care.
All right.
yes,
Bye-bye,
thanks to
everybody.
all. Much love. Bye bye.
Yep.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.